Today we're going to be replacing the battery in a Harley Davidson Sportster. Getting right into it, all I'm going to be using is this flathead on my multi-tool, Allen key that came with the battery, 10mm socket, driver and extender. The very first thing that I'm going to do is remove the screw that's holding in the seat. And then I'm just going to lift up here, push forward, remove the seat completely. I'm going to set that aside somewhere and just put this screw right back where it goes so I don't forget it. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and turn the ignition on and actually turn the bike on. I'll get back to this in a second. Here I am removing the battery cover plate. It's just really held in by these two clips up here and a hook on the bottom. So those come out right there, and then it's a little bit of jostling to lift this up and get it unhooked. And here we have the fuse box. I'm going to remove this from its heavy-duty Velcro, and then just take the housing off of the box altogether with these little clips on the side. Just pull out. And I'm going to remove the fuses, and when I remove this fuse, the bike will be completely off. So just pop this guy out of here. I'm going to remove the other two as well. Maybe get this gasket off of here. And I'll make sure to put these in a safe place and return later near the end. Put this gasket back on here. Make sure it's seated correctly. Don't want to lose that. That's important. Alright, removing the negative terminal first. Just a few little twists with the socket, and then I'm going to back this out with my fingers. And once I get it out here, all I'm really going to do is try to remember exactly the orientation of how this goes, so I can put it back correctly. And I'm going to do a little examining of the screw and these elements here to make sure they look good, they look solid, they look clean, and this looks pretty good. So I'm going to be putting that back in once we get the new battery installed. Same thing with the positive terminal. A few twists to get this screw out of here. I'll back it out with my fingers and make sure everything looks good. Remember how everything is oriented. And I'll probably just try to place these cables out of the way so that when we remove the battery, we're not tugging on anything. And at this point, the only thing holding in the battery is this bracket here. It's attached on the bottom with this bolt and a little clip on the top. So first, we'll get this loosened up so I can get that out of there. And then this little clip on the top, it's a little like push, pull, lift type of thing. Alright, so the battery now is ready to be taken out, and I'm going to do this nice and slow just to make sure I'm not pulling any cables, running anything over. Try to lift some things out of the way, make sure nothing falls out of here. And it really just sits there, so it's out now. And here we have the MOTOBATT. And the cool thing about this is it's got terminals on all four corners, so you can pick which way you need to install the battery. Don't have to worry about if you're getting a battery with the right or wrong orientation of terminals, so I can pick here. And then it comes with the little receptacles there, a screw, and the Allen key. Just get these set. Nice and finger tight. Maybe a little bit more just to make sure we're not ruining anything, stripping anything out. It is pretty solid material. Putting the positive side on now. And I want to make sure that this is the exact same orientation as the previous battery. And to do so, I'm just going to take a look here. Yep, positive is on this side, negative is on this side, as I see with the symbols here. And next, I hope you notice these little extenders here, whatever you call them, boosters. They clip right onto the bottom of the battery to make the height pretty much exactly the same as the model that came with the bike. They stand at the same height. So now we'll just slide this battery back in here, kind of reverse the process at this point with a few tweaks in between. Make sure we're not running over any cables. And it looks like it fits perfectly. Comes right to the edge there. At this point, I'll put the clip back onto the battery to hold it in there. Kind of work this top contraption until I can get that clipped in there. A little hassle, but it's nice. And then just make sure it's fitting right, which it looks like it is, and tighten up that bottom bolt. Now at this point, I'm actually going to return to the negative first. Make sure those cables are in the same orientation as when they came out. We'll get this hooked in right here. I mean, it lines up very nicely. We'll get this pretty tight. Make sure it's nice and secure. And as we move on to the positive, making sure those cables are in the right order. We'll get this screwed in here. That little cover makes it a little bit difficult, but you get the idea. And tighten that up just enough, just to make sure we're not making this thing fall apart. Shove this little cap back on here. Arrange these cables so they're nice and snug within this cavity. And here's where we put the fuses back in, just in reverse order. I don't know if it super matters with the little ones, but it's the big one that's going to let us know when the bike turns back on. So let's listen for that sound as we plug this in. Great. Sounds good. The housing goes back on the fuse box. I'm going to adhere it to this heavy duty Velcro. Make sure that's nice and solid and tight in there. Looks good. And at this point, I'm ready to actually start the bike and see how it responds. Let's see. All right, pretty good. A few things left to do. We're going to hook this cover back in place, bottom first, and then these top clips. I'm going to pull this together so it snaps in, and jostle it a little bit just to make sure there's no cables in the way. Make sure I'm not damaging anything. All looks pretty good from here. And then the last thing is this seat goes back in. I'm going to kind of scoop it in the front, seat it on the bottom, and then reattach the screw which started this process in the first place. Thanks for watching, guys.